Hello, welcome back to another edition of the Faithful Fan Sports Podcast. I'm Noah Casper, and today I'm joined by Cole Ouellette, Luke Cervello, and Adam Thomas. We're going to do a quick recap of the 2019 NBA draft from last night. How are you guys doing today?
Good to be back here, boys.
Yeah, it's been a long break, but it's good to be back.
Doing all right. My first podcast, so it should be fun.
All right, so first and foremost, the pick that everyone was expecting to come through did happen first overall as the Pelicans took Zion Williamson first overall out of Duke. Cole, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts with the pick?
Everyone knew it was coming. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him, all the hype. Everyone's going to think he's going to be immediate impact. I think it might take him a little while. New team, chemistry-wise, a lot of moving pieces for the Pelicans. But I think he'll have a good season. I don't think he'll live up to the hype that everyone thinks. I think he might be like a Draymond plus, somewhere between Draymond and Blake Griffin, more towards the Blake Griffin end.
So took my thunder there, Cole. To me, Zion Williamson, NBA comp is Blake Griffin. I think he'll be a good NBA player. I do not think he'll be a bust. I think he'll be a good NBA player. I think athletes like that don't come around every day, and I think he's a guy that the shooting has to get better. It's a shooting league. Bad shooters rarely make it in the NBA. That's factual.
He's not a good shooter.
I think he will improve his shooting as it goes on. I don't think he'll ever be a great shooter, but I think that'd be the biggest piece that he to improve his game. I think he'll be a good NBA player. 6 or 7 time All-Star type guy. I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer like some people might say, but I think he'll be a good NBA player.
I feel like the problem with the Pelicans is that they have so much young talent, but now all these like guys that have played in the league before are going to look up to Zion, even though he doesn't have any experience, and they're just going to kind of feed off him because he's like the main project of this team. And I just don't know how that's going to fit for the other guys on the team.
I sort of agree with I would go back to what Luke said. I'm worried about his shot long term. Duke struggled from three. That whole team struggled from three. That's why they lost to Michigan State in the Elite Eight. They couldn't shoot from distance. And I don't know that that's going to change for him playing against harder competition in the NBA. The Pelicans as a whole, I think, have a shooting issue. I mean, look at the guys. Look at the big-name guys in this roster. How many of them are really three-point shooters? Lonzo Ball's not a big shooter. Brandon Ingram's not a big shooter. Zion's not a big shooter. I mean, I just don't know.
Hard constructor a little bit.
And I think Ingram's not a bad option. Holiday's not too bad. They're not lights out. There's no Currys on that team. There's no like guys you're like, oh, he's gonna splash that three. But they have some guys that
Alexander Walker really drafted last night, maybe could be that guy. But that would be my main thing. I agree with you guys overall. I don't know that he's going to be as big as other media sources would tell you he's going to be. But at the end of the day, you're getting a guy who's at the very least going to sell you tickets, which is something that New Orleans desperately needs after losing Anthony Davis. They need to sell tickets. He'll sell you tickets in New Orleans.
He'll be a good NBA player.
So moving on to number 2, the Memphis Grizzlies took Ja Morant out of Murray State. There have been questions about how he would be able to translate from playing in the Ohio Valley Conference to the NBA and the competition level, even though he did show out against Alabama in the regular season and against Marquette in the NCAA tournament. Luke, we'll start with you on this one. Thoughts on Ja Morant?
I think he will be the second best player in this draft, I would say. I love his athleticism. I love his ability. I think he can run a team. I think he's a franchise cornerstone. I wouldn't have done anything differently if I was the Grizzlies.
I don't really know too much about him, but I watched him in the NCAA tournament. He looked pretty good. But looking at his numbers, I mean, can't really complain about those in college.
All right. I have no concern about the jump from lesser competition to the NBA.
Me neither.
Damian Lillard's done it before. There's some proof. I know Weber State or Murray State just kind of a stink around him that, they don't translate. But I don't think that's the problem with him. I think he's the best player in this draft class. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. The shooting abilities here can create his own shot. The one thing I worry about him is him fitting too much into that Russell Westbrook mode. You don't want him to be Westbrook. Look, Westbrook hasn't won a championship. He can't be too ball dominant, and that's one thing I'm worried with him. Great passer, he'll get people theirs, but he's gonna focus on not shooting too much. I think other than that, I think he'll be a great player.
Do you think he's gonna try and take over the Grizzlies?
I mean,
he's gonna.
Well, I mean,
they're giving him the keys to their
two things. First, off Russell Westbrook point, my comparison for John Morant would be a Russell Westbrook who can shoot. Russell Westbrook can't shoot. He's won an MVP. John Morant can shoot, and they have very similar games in that regard. My concern for him is look who he's got on the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies, if you looked at all 30 rosters in the NBA, top to bottom guys under contract for next season, you could make a case that the Memphis Grizzlies are the worst team in the NBA. Who's he playing with? He has nobody. He's got Jaren Jackson Jr. They drafted Brandon Clark from Gonzaga. He's not going to start for them. And then they bring in a couple guys from the Jazz, whatever you think Grayson Allen is going to be. Other than that, they've got nobody. And that would be my main concern. You got to give the guy somebody to pass the ball to.
I think with a player like him, though, he's such a good passer. You can surround him with shooters. Just surround him with shooters. You don't need – of course, you're going to need an all-star with him, but it's not like you need a big three. I think if he comes into his prime, he's what I think he's going to be. You put him with shooters, and he'll help create for them. They don't need to create for themselves.
So you think he's going to be more of a role player?
No, I think he's a superstar. I'm saying you don't need to spend so much money on
John Morant is not anything but a role player.
I mean, but Cole, that's not – the Memphis Grizzlies won't be competing for a championship for quite some time.
I completely agree with that. They're going to need a piece or two more.
They're a good franchise. They've had good teams. They're rebuilding them.
Yeah, they have two good building blocks in Jackson Morant. They, I think, might need one more, and then they're going to have to surround them with shooters and stuff.
Yeah.
They've done a nice job getting pieces for their old veterans.
All right, moving on to 3. The New York Knicks took R.J. Barrett. Funny enough, the Knicks were projected to have the first pick in this draft for a long time, and R.J. Barrett was projected to be the first pick in this draft for a long time, and they end up pairing together at 3. There was a reason why he fell from being number 1 to number 3 projected, but Luke, do you think there's a reason for that? Or do you think he's going to still be an all-star in the NBA?
I'll tell you this about Barrett. The skill set is all there. The talent is all there. It's all right there for him. It's an IQ thing with him. Countless times. You can go back and watch the highlights if you want. Countless times with Duke last year, he just tries to do too much. Tries to go through 2-3 people.
He lost in that game.
He tries to take a lot of shots. I think with him, it's more IQ. And with the right coaching, I think he could be a good player. But it's not.
The Knicks going to give him the right coaching. Is David Fizdale going to be the right
it's
coach?
It's more of a develop. It's more of like their assistants and stuff giving him instruction. It's more player development with him than talent. Whether he gets that will determine whether he's.
Then let me rephrase the question for you. Do you trust the New York Knicks to give that to him?
No. As long as James Dolan is calling the shot for the New York Knicks, the Knicks will continue to suck. And I won't be told differently. It's one of the more useless, worthless men in sports. Just continuously does the opposite of what's logical.
All right, Cole, any thoughts?
I think R.J. Barrett, I think he's one of those guys, he's going to always score. You can't take that away from him, but it's whether the other parts of his game can develop.
Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, he could be a Wiggins. He's the type of guy, he's got a great shot, he'll score. But I can see him being a good NBA player. I can't see him being a great NBA player.
Me neither.
He's not the guy that you're going to –
has the talent to.
He's not the guy that you're gonna always give the ball to. I think he's more of a complimentary second or third option. He's not the guy.
He'll never.
See, I don't know.
He'll never be the LeBron or the Wade. He'll be the Chris Bosh or the Kevin.
See, I don't know if Barrett can handle that though. He wants to. Well, I guess he was the second option on Duke, but he still got the ball. He still got his touches.
Yeah, but look how it went.
Scored more than Zion.
I guess
which is something people don't even remember.
Here raises another concern. Look how he got so. Maybe he's better than we think. He just got so overshadowed by Zion. Playing second to Zion, to the hype that Zion.
In big moments, he almost blew them the UCF game, and he should have, and he did cost them the Michigan State game.
Yeah, they lost. Absolutely did. Absolutely lost in that game.
I don't have anything really to add. Cole kind of said it pretty well.
All right. So 4th, the Atlanta Hawks. This pick originally belonged to the Lakers. They sent it to the Pelicans in the Anthony Davis trade. And then the Pelicans on draft night sent this pick to Atlanta for a handful of other picks and a Solomon Hill. DeAndre Hunter, coming from Virginia. He's a national champion. He's a defense-first wing. The Hawks need somebody to slide in between Trae Young and John Collins long-term. They moved on from Taurean Prince, moving him to Brooklyn. DeAndre Hunter seems like a good fit there to me because he doesn't need as many touches as Trae Young and John Collins do. He'll be able to – he's not going to complain about getting shots. His focus is on the defensive end of the floor. So I don't have a problem with this pick for Atlanta. I think he fits in nicely with their progression and where they want to go as a franchise.
I think that. Listen, I think that the bet to me, Hunter will be a productive NBA player. He will be. This is when I think about DeAndre Hunter. I might get jumpy. I think about Tony Allen. I think about a guy that's a defensive player, and I think that's a guy that's not going to rip up offensive stat sheets. And I think that if I was the Pelicans and I had this pick, I wouldn't have traded it, and I wouldn't have taken DeAndre Hunter. I would have taken who will end up being the best player in this draft class, and that's Jarrett Culver. I think Culver's the guy that's going to make a difference for you. I wouldn't have taken Hunter if I was either team.
I wish people listening could see my face right now after hearing that statement. But I'm just going to gloss over that for a second. I have a DeAndre Hunter comparison question for you. What do you think about comparing him to Andre Iguodala?
That's fair. He's a better shooter than Allen, but I think about that was not even an insult. No. He has the defensive grit that Tony Allen had. He has the defensive ability to stop a guy that Allen had. He's a better scorer than Allen. Okay. But I'm just saying, I don't think DeAndre Hunter is a guy I would have taken with the fourth pick.
But the Hawks don't need him to be that. The Hawks don't need him to be a franchise-altering small forward. They need another guy to fit their long-term plans to put in between the young pieces they are.
So I'm saying I think the Pelicans should have kept the pick and taken Culver.
I liked what the Pelicans did. They got depth to their team.
I think that Culver's a can't-miss guy. I think that's the best player in this draft.
All right, about Hunter, it's not the sexiest pick, but he gets the job done.
Exactly.
What they need, they have their scorer Trae Young. John Collins, he's a good scorer. He can jump out of the gym type of guy. They're looking for him for defensive purposes. Now, I compare him to, I like the Iguodala, but I almost say he's kind of like a bigger Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's not a lights-out shooter. He just can get the job done enough. He can shoot just good enough. I think this is what this guy has. I think if he can unlock that shooting potential and that offensive ability, he could be real good, a nice two-way player. But I think right now, defensively, he'll be a lockdown defensive player. Maybe years to come, you might be able to see him on an all-defensive team.
Yeah, the Hawks just kind of need this guy just to get the boards, play some defense.
Yeah,
they have their shooters. They
have their shooters: Trae Young, Kevin Huerter.
I'm not saying the Hawks should have taken Culver. I'm saying the Pelicans should have kept the pick and taken Culver.
All right, fair enough.
I like the pick for the Hawks, but I think the Pelicans should.
But I think Culver, for Pelicans' purposes, is too much of a Brandon Ingram. He's too like Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
Think about their body.
They don't need.
I'm talking about Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram has never been anything. I don't want to talk about the potential. People talk about the potential of Brandon Ingram. I don't want to hear about Brandon Ingram. He's skinny, he's soft, and he hasn't produced.
He averaged 21 points towards the end of last season after the All-Star break.
Okay, I'd like to see Brandon Ingram have a good full season.
All right, yeah, that remains to be seen.
Always been overrated.
He averaged 18 points a game and 5 rebounds last year.
Because everyone else was out for the Lakers. They shut down everybody and their brother. They had peanut bangers,
including him.
He's a good guy. He is not. Brandon Ingram is not a good prospect. I'm sorry. He's such overrated potential.
I feel though there's a lot of players like that in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's skinny. He's just a bum. I'm sorry. He's not a bum.
A guy who averaged 18 points a game in the Western
Conference. He's not a bum.
I
shouldn't have said that came out wrong. He
can't even go into a liquor store and buy himself a 30
He's
rack.
an overrated prospect, though. He's had 3 years in the NBA.
Okay, so going from one stupid comment to another stupid
That's
decision.
not a stupid comment.
The Cleveland Cavaliers drafted Darius Garland 5th overall, a year after taking Colin Sexton 8th overall. Do you guys think that the two of them will work together in the backcourt? I say no.
Go ahead, Cole.
I agree. Two ball dominant. Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
You go back to his high school days. He always needed the ball in his hands. He's the type of guy. It's his hands, his shot. He's not passing. If there's a shot to take, he's going to take it. Garland, he played little in college due to injury, but he's the same type of guy. Now, I heard people say maybe they're going for a Portland Trailblazers mode, kind of with the CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard. That's what I heard, but I don't know. McCollum's not that ball handler.
No.
McCollum, he can catch and shoot.
Let me say this. There's a reason Colin Sexton played at Alabama when he had offers from Kentucky and Duke and Arizona.
Wanted to be the show.
Yeah.
I'll say this, Noah. I'm not going to sit here and comment on Darius Garland's skill because I've never seen him play. But from what I've read and what I've watched, I know he's a guy that'll have the ball in his hands. And I know I've watched a ton of Colin Sexton. And so can they make it work? Yeah, could they make it work in theory? Yes.
No.
Do I think they'll make it work? I don't. I think that the Red Raiders will also regret not taking Culver. I'm telling you, people are going to regret not taking Jared Culver.
Now, my thing
Best
is
player in the draft.
with the Garland pick, you think maybe there's a trade? Cleveland thinking of a trade?
Who are they going to get?
Maybe trade Sexton. I don't know if they think
So,
he's better than Sexton.
Culver's Garland's so unproven to get anything. for him.
And
No, I'm saying
Like,
maybe
here's-
Sexton. How they trade
here's an
Sexton.
important thing to note here. If you want a 2-guy backcourt, Damian Lillard's a big passer. He averages like 7 assists every year. Last year in his rookie year, Colin Sexton averaged exactly 3 assists a game, running the point. In 5 games at Vanderbilt, Darius Garland averaged 2.6. Neither of these guys passed the ball.
They don't complement each other well.
No, they will not complement each other well at all. Very stupid, foolish pick by a stupid, foolish organization. Outside of 4 years with LeBron.
Don't really see much going for the Cavs anytime soon.
Me neither. So, 6th overall, Luke, the Timberwolves got your guy, Jarrett Culver out of Texas Tech. They move up from 11 with the Phoenix Suns giving up Darius. So, essentially the Phoenix Suns traded Jarrett Culver for Cameron Johnson and Dario Saric.
So they'll regret that for decades.
The Suns are a foolish franchise. They
Hate to
make
see
bad move after bad
Fans
move.
robbed of the best player in the draft. It's sad because Culver is just so. Culver to me is just when I see Jarrett Culver, I think of a guy that's just going to consistently fill it up. I love Culver. I think of
Jimmy
I
Butler.
think of a Paul George. I think of a guy that's just going to fill it up.
I say Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
I agree. I can see Jimmy Butler in him.
Disrespectful.
I can see
Um,
a Jimmy Butler in him.
I think the Timberwolves got their guy. They got the best player in the draft. Good for them.
I
You
think
pair him with Karl Anthony Towns.
And what?
Hopefully, what's his face can get engaged a little bit.
Wiggins.
Wiggins. The talent is there with Wiggins. It's not a talent that he kind of just doesn't care. He just kind of runs around, plays some ball, goes home and goes to bed, and that's what God knows what. It's just engagement with Wiggins. It's nothing to do with talent. I think the talent. I think he has all-star talent. It's just engage.
now my question talk about Wiggins is: do you think this Culver pick means Wiggins is on his way out?
Could be.
Because I
Could be.
heard that Miami's seriously engaged in trying to get Wiggins.
Well, that'd be a classic Miami
And then-
guy.
Yeah.
And the Timberwolves do want his contract off the books. He's like getting max money,
Yeah, he's getting
and
through.
he's not making All-Star appearances. He's not making that big of a difference.
Yeah,
You
has
think-
Wiggins even done much for them?
No, if you think about
He's an empty stat filler.
you think the combination of him and Karl Anthony Towns would do something. I know it's the West, and it's
No.
competitive, but like you would think that would make some noise. And it's not like they had bad role players around him, and they just absolutely made no noise. They disappointed. They 8 seed. They challenged the Rockets. What was it? 2 years ago in the first round, and then
To be
they
fair,
took
though,
a giant.
to be fair, that
step
year they
down.
were much higher in the standings, and then Jimmy Butler missed like the last 2 months of the year, so they fell from like 4 to 8. But I agree. I think that you need at the very least, you need somebody else. It can't just be Wiggins and Towns there if you want to do anything. And they should have addressed the point guard position at 6, in my opinion. If you're going to give up assets to move up, go get Darius Garland and move up a pick higher than going up to get a position that you don't really need as much.
I'm biased against Texas Tech, but looking at the game in the Final Four, he didn't really do much.
Yeah, he
Three,
did.
three, for, 3 for 12. Yeah.
Great players have that game. Look at his regular season. He was one of the best players in the nation. Big 12 player of the year. Just a guy that's gonna have a great career for a long time. You'll see him out in Springfield.
So you're saying number one
Be the
out of this
rookie
whole
of the year.
draft class?
Best player in this draft class, Jimmy Culver. Be the rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year.
Hall of Fame.
Well, that's just
Over Zion? Argue there.
How can you say a guy's gonna be a Hall of Famer if he hasn't played one game in the NBA?
Telling you, Cole, he has that rare ability to just consistently fill it up. He makes other people around him better. He's an attention drawer. He's a scorer. He's a passer. He does everything.
I
A
do-
little bit of improvement on the defensive end, and I think that he will be. He's just stop, dude.
Adam
He's
just
stop.
pointed out in the biggest
Okay,
moment he disappeared.
game. He had a bad
Big time
game.
players show up in
what
big
did he do in
moments.
the national
He had a bad
championship?
game.
Yeah,
Okay, he
I'm
had a
sorry.
bad game. Okay, he had a bad game. I'm just not
He
gonna
had a bad game in the biggest game of his life.
Okay, yes, okay, you did. That's, I'm not gonna demote a career accomplishment.
And it was in Minneapolis where he's now headed to, so it must be something about him.
Oh yeah, no. Okay.
All right. 41 minutes, 5 for 22, 15
He
points.
had a bad Final Four. Well, I never said he had
Two
a good
biggest
Final
games of his life.
He had a bad
Against-
Final Four. He
against-
got them there. Would they have been there without him, Adam? Would they have been in the Final Four without Jared Culver?
What does that have to do with anything?
What did Matt Mooney and that?
Okay, but
I mean, Matt Mooney did outplay him.
Yeah, Matt Mooney had a great Final Four too. But I'm telling you, they would
That
not.
kid's a
They
grind.
would not have been in the Final Four without Jared Culver.
Yeah.
okay, would Auburn have been in the Final Four without Jared Harper? Yes or no?
No, but his
Okay,
role-
where was he? Why wasn't he drafted 6th overall? Is he going to be a Hall of Famer?
Too small. I'm telling you, it's a strong opinion. Every now and then, we all have a strong opinion. I have a strong opinion about this. It's nothing wrong with
I like
making
that.
bold predictions. No, it's a bold prediction. I admit it. It's out there
There's a
prediction.
difference between bold and stupid.
It's a prediction that'll be getting me a lot of credit in a couple of years.
Yeah.
I like Culver
He's
too.
just
I
like-
just think that
I
that's.
love Culver.
I like him too. You're putting me in a position where I have to talk poorly about him, which I don't want to do. But you're just going too far with it.
It's okay. I'm
All right,
sure
You're acting like he's like the next LeBron out here.
All right, 7th overall, the Chicago Bulls took Kobe White to finish out their young core. Now they've got White, Levine, Otto Porter Jr., Markkanen, and Wendell Carter Jr. as their projected starting 5. What do you guys think is his ceiling in the NBA?
White to me is, I don't know. Is this fair, Noah? Would saying is Rajon Rondo a fair comparison?
No.
Not at
In
all.
what way?
He's not the
He's-
passer.
He's not as good of a passer, but he's a much better. They're good at the opposite things. Rondo's a good passer and defender. White's a good offensive player.
I like
Puts the ball in
White.
the
I don't
bucket.
know a ton about him, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend I do. But I will say that I think that Levine with Levine, I think he's.
That's a good backcourt. I think
I
they'll
think
play
that's
well
a good
together.
backcourt.
I think
but
they'll complement each other well.
Bulls obviously need more, but they're obviously rebuilding, so they'll get more.
I
He
think
comes
that's
off to me like a better version
They'll
of
be a
Lonzo Ball.
bottom 7 team
Yeah.
in the NBA this
Tall,
year.
tall guard.
Definitely one of the worst teams in the league.
This is one of the prospects I was most torn on. I saw him play in big games, especially against Duke, and he lit up the scoreboard. He was
Yeah.
just a bucket. Step back threes over step back
He's
threes.
a good player.
But
unlike Jared
but then
Culver, he
there-
showed up in the biggest
but
games.
there was games that he absolutely disappeared. Kobe
We made
White
it further in the tournament, though.
Who's a better player?
he disappeared at times.
Oh, you telling me Kobe White would be a better pro than Jared Culver?
Yeah,
That is sick. That
Yeah,
is
I am.
sick.
All right, let's not even argue this.
sick,
And I agree
sick.
with you, Sergey. I don't even agree. That's not arguing. But Kobe White, he shows up, then he'll disappear for a time. You're like, where's Kobe White? And you'll see he shot like 3 for 14.
He needs
like,
a
3 for
haircut
15.
first and foremost.
And a point guard, I don't know if he projects as a point guard. He's not. He's a decent passer, but he's not a great passer.
I think, I think he could be a 1 or a 2, and Chicago has a flexibility. White could play 1 or 2, and Levine could play 1 or 2. I have time to figure that out.
I see him as a 6-man, maybe a J.R. Smith type. He can shoot the 3 ball well.
I wouldn't say that, but
6-man, maybe nice bench player. That's what I think. High end role player.
We'll see how he does.
At the end of the day, he's a better option than Chris Dunn. I don't think anybody would argue that.
yeah, well, I mean,
Chris Dunn didn't.
Yeah, Chris
I-
Dunn.
he was surprising.
Defensively, I guess he produces,
sucks.
but other than that,
Yeah, he
he's a bomb.
sucks.
hate to say that, but he's
So, 8th overall, the Pelicans in the trade that they moved down from 4 to 8 with Atlanta. They took Jackson Hayes, the big man out of Texas. He sort of broke onto the scene his senior year of high school as a Power 5 prospect, and then his freshman year of college, he broke out as an NBA lottery prospect. Athletic big, stretches the floor, blocks shots. You guys think this is a good pick next to Zion on the front court for New Orleans?
I think it's high risk, high reward. I think he's a guy that could be a total bust and just never be anything. I think he could be a guy that can impact the team, shot blocking, score around the rim a little bit. I think it's high risk, high reward. It's the best way to describe it.
Are
Luke,
they
I'm
putting
gonna,
him at center?
yeah.
Would you say no?
Luke, I'm going to give you credit for this one. I liked how you compared him when we were watching the draft last night. I think
Jarrett
Jarrett
Allen.
Allen is a fair
Fair
comparison.
person. Not a stud, not a great player by any means, but a guy.
Average
I
starting
like
center
guys
in the
that
NBA.
can block shots. And I think he can. He's definitely I would say the best shot blocker.
By the way, third straight center out of Texas, drafted in the top 15 in the last 3 years.
Allen, Hayes, and
Mo Bamba.
that's right. Yep.
Interesting.
I disagree with Jared Allen comparison. Jared Allen has a little more weight to him. This guy's like a toothpick.
But Allen was skinny when he got drafted
Yeah.
out of
Yeah,
Texas.
but-
He beefed up.
I think this is probably the one bad move the Pelicans made. I think he'll stay in the league because he's a shot blocker. But unless he puts on weight, he's going to get owned
think
in the
he will.
post.
I think he
Imagine
will.
him trying to
I
go
think
up
he will.
against
He's like
against an
19,
Aiden.
20.
I know, but look at DeAndre Ayton. He's 20. Imagine him going up against DeAndre Ayton trying to grab a rebound from DeAndre Ayton. He's going to get bodied.
They have time to put him through their weightlifting program and stuff. I think he'll be like an average center. I don't think he's a stud.
I wouldn't draft him this high. I think if you put weight on him, he'll be a nice little player. But if he doesn't get weight on him, he's going to get owned.
Pelicans desperately need a center.
Yeah, but I think
maybe Zion can give him a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
And call it
Yeah.
All right. Next pick.
9th overall, the Wizards took productive wing from Gonzaga, Rui Hachimura. He developed over a couple of years. He's been on the NBA radar for a couple of years, but it just took him some time to actually get there. He ends up going 9th overall. This is a guy, I don't know how high the ceiling is, but for a lottery pick, he's got a pretty low floor. You guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a guy that's going to fill it up. I don't think he has that stud potential, but
No.
I think, like you said, I don't think he really would be a bum.
Not necessarily a game-to-game comparison, but in regards to role comparison, like a Marcus Morris, a borderline starter.
I think it's a safe pick,
Yeah,
productive pick, like you said.
It's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt the Wizards next
No,
year.
it isn't.
they'll suck either
Other
way.
things will hurt them, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a good 3-and-D guy. Like I said, he'll be a nice, productive role player. Marcus Morris, I haven't seen him. I haven't watched Kentucky play a lot. I don't know what he is like as a shooter, but he definitely seems like he'll definitely be able to contribute on the defensive end right away. I don't know. I like the pick.
He shot 41% from 3 last
Yeah,
year.
he can shoot. He can get buckets for sure.
Average about 20 points too.
Yeah. 10th overall, the Atlanta Hawks went with another wing to complement DeAndre Hunter. Sort of took a flyer on Cam Reddish, considering they had 2 lottery picks. Cole, want to go on first on this one?
Love this pick. This makes the Hunter pick seem even better. If Cam Reddish can unlock his potential, and he's a great shooter. At one point, he was ahead of Barrett and Zion Williams in the recruiting class, and he was the number 1 recruit for a while. I think him being with Williamson and Barrett, he lost touches and they overshadowed him. He kind of disappeared. Like he was a little intimidated by that. But I think great pick. A backcourt of him and Trae Young, that shooting potential. That I'm not saying it's gonna be, but I'm saying if it worked out, it has the potential to be similar to a Curry Tomlinson backcourt with the shooting potential. I'm saying potential. I'm not saying it's going to be as good of because those are 2 of the greatest shooters of all time. I'm saying it's potential.
I just wouldn't go that far. It's actually almost sacrilegious to say that. I think Reddish is like trying to think of an NBA comparison.
I think it's fair to say the same. We could have the same exact conversation with Cam Reddish that we did about RJ Barrett at 3. Andrew Wiggins, is he going to be consistent enough? Is he going to show up enough?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's kind of he's definitely one of the biggest question marks in this draft.
I wouldn't draft him 10.
But I don't think Reddish, like Barrett in New York, he's going to have to be the guy. But I don't think Reddish is going to have to be the guy. Trae Young will take a lot of that load for him.
It's not like anyone in Atlanta will be watching and hold him accountable anyway, so that's fair, too.
The next pick was
Phoenix. They took potentially one of the bigger surprises of the first round. The Phoenix Suns took Cameron Johnson out of North Carolina, 11th overall. I like Cameron Johnson. I think he's a bench player in the NBA. I think he's a guy you bring off the bench, knock down some threes, give you like 12 a game. I have no idea how, in what potential mindset, way, shape, or form that pick at 11 makes sense for a team that's trying to rebuild, especially – I don't know why you would move down to take him from 6. The difference between Jarrett Culver and Cameron Johnson is massive. It's 5 picks different. The difference is massive. His age does not fit the timeline of this organization. I could go on about this all day. Anybody want to chime in?
I mean, I think I think it does speak to the overall. I think this was shooting was really valued in this draft, and it was valued too much here. It's just a silly. Probably, I think you could make a strong case for the worst pick of the first draft.
A year from now, he'll be 24 years old.
Would
His
you
rookie
say-
he will be 27 years old when his rookie contract expires.
I'd say that's probably the worst pick in the first round.
Yeah.
Just not the worst player taken, just the worst value at that spot.
I like him. He's 6'9". He can
I like
shoot
him
from
too.
3. It doesn't make sense for this team where they are at this point in the draft.
dumb pick by a dumb franchise. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You know what? He's definitely a first round talent. He's more of, I think, a piece you'd want on a championship team. for shooting.
Exactly.
He's not a player you'd want for a rebuild.
It's not
And
a centerpiece.
and how dumb of them to trade back. This team
And all they got out of it was Dario Saric.
like trade the 6th pick and toss in something. Try to get up to 4 and get Garland. You desperately need a point guard. Someone in
Which
the
they
back.
didn't even address.
You need definitely a point guard behind with Booker to complement Booker. And they're not going for D'Angelo Russell. This franchise is continually they're trying to make their team worse.
Don't worry, Cole. They addressed the point guard. They got Ty Jerome.
Yeah, productive college play, but other than that,
TJ McConnell.
Jerome and Guy aren't going to come. Kyle Guy and Ty Jerome were great college players. I don't want to disrespect them, but I don't know who they're going to guard in the NBA.
Jerome's a decent defender.
I don't. In the NBA though, look at that body type. I think him and Guy.
TJ McConnell.
Yeah, that's fair. They both can score.
and there's always a need for shooters. There's always a spot for
I
shooters
can
in the league.
fill it up.
Moving towards the end of the lottery, at 12, the Charlotte Hornets took P.J. Washington out of Kentucky. Anybody want to chime in on this one?
I like the player. I like the kid a lot. I think he's a kid who'll bang bodies and stuff. But I don't think that. I don't know. Is he the 13th best prospect? 12th best prospect in this draft? No.
He was actually ranked about there, yeah.
I guess. I don't know. That is a Hornets pick. They love those. Hornets love forwards. They love guys that'll go
You know
down.
what I actually think is a fair comparison for him?
What?
The guy he'll eventually replace there, Marvin Williams.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a grinder. Williams is a grinder. He's a guy that I don't know. He reminds me of the kid in the Heat. Reminds me of Bam out of Bio. Just a guy.
James Johnson.
Just a guy that'll go down there and just throw the body.
I still think he's an upgrade over Marvin Williams. I mean,
Yeah, he is.
anyone can really be that.
I
The
know.
Hornets are stuck in NBA purgatory.
I know.
They're always never bad, but never good.
I know everyone likes to compare people to Draymond Green, but I think he's a perfect example of a Draymond Green type of. He has a Draymond Green body a little bit, and I think he's got a decent mid range game. I think he's gonna find out where he's gonna play because he's 6'8", he's a little undersized for a power forward. I think he's
They can
kinda gotta
swap him
find
around
his-
like they do with Draymond.
his niche, and I think, like you said, the Hornets they need another scorer to go along with Kemba. You need someone to I think Kemba's gonna resign. That's a discussion for a different day. But you need someone that's gonna make Kemba say, "Oh, this guy can actually help me out."
Need something. They're just
He's all this. This guy's versatile. I'll give him that. But other than that,
They kind of just have
What's
a
he
bunch of
gonna
guys
provide?
running around the court. with
They're
Kemba.
they're exactly like the team who picked right after the Miami Heat. They have a bunch of decent 3-and-D role players who are they're 7th, 8th guy off the bench on a championship team. They're decent starters on your average team. They didn't. To me, this pick doesn't. They didn't go out and get a guy who has superstar potential. PJ Washington's never going to make an All-Star game in the NBA. They were a team that needed to try and hit a home run, and they just didn't.
Never.
They just slid into second and called it a day.
all right.
13th overall, the Heat took his Kentucky teammate Tyler Hero, adding to their plethora of wing shooters.
Yeah. That I would say Noah. That would be one. I would say that'd be one of the more misbalanced rosters in the NBA.
Oh yeah.
But just as far as just not having the guys just spread around the positions, literally.
No, they have a bunch. They have 4 or 5 3-and-D guys making $10-12 million a year, averaging 10-12 points a game.
I think he'll be a nice player, but I think he's a role player.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever start an NBA game.
Completely agree with you. Role player.
Role player.
Like I said, there's always a need for shooting. He's definitely can shoot. There's no denying that. But what else can he do? He's not your go-to guy. He's not going to be that guy that's an automatic bucket. He's got a nice 3, and that's about it. There's nothing more. I guess maybe a side, maybe 6'5". People might think he's a good defender. But
Heat are more screwed than people think.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
cap room, a bunch of money tied to old guys who aren't really good anymore. No future superstars. They'll be picking towards the top of the lottery in the next couple of
the
years.
Heat are the type of team that like to sign and trade for guys that just keep them above the lottery, just above the line.
Same thing as the Hornets, NBA
yeah.
purgatory.
They love to be an 8 seed or just miss the playoffs as a 9 seed. They love to do that. Ever since LeBron left,
They love having this pick 13, 14, 15, 16. They love that 4-pick range.
yeah, this was the mold of their previous picks first, second round, or undrafted guys. This kind of fits the mold of the Tyler Johnson they used to have, Josh Richardson. He's kind of that type of player.
Yeah.
He's a nice role player.
Wayne Ellington.
A championship roster. He might be a nice piece off the bench, but for team rebuilding, or I guess second purgatory, he doesn't do you much.
The last pick of the lottery, the Boston Celtics took highly recruited Indiana freshman Romeo Langford. He had an up and down freshman year, but he still ended up in the lottery. I'm going to ask the resident Celtics fans to go first.
I would say about him, I don't want to sound negative, but I don't like guys that can't shoot. It's just not. I think it's a shooting league, Noah. I think it's the guys that are good really can shoot, and the guys that win the playoffs that can shoot. Look at the NBA this year. Look at the playoffs. The teams that went far all have great shooters. Look at how the playoffs worked out for the Thunder. They ran into a buzzsaw that can shoot in the Blazers with McCollum. Look at McCollum and Lillard versus George and Westbrook.
George can shoot.
George can shoot, but it's Westbrook that's a problem.
Let me finish. He had the shoulder injury in the playoffs, which prevented his shooting. Who won that series? The Blazers and
The better team.
yeah, but I'm saying they're the better team because they can shoot.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think Langford to me almost has the ceiling of kind of like a guy like Marcus Smart a little bit that never takes that.
He's a better shooter than Marcus Smart.
Yeah, but is he Noah?
Yeah, he is.
They had similar shooting. I know we had the torn thigh eliminated people. Celtics fans love saying that. I think that he will have a similar NBA production as Marcus Smart.
He can grow.
On the injury front, I did read that he injured his hand, which affected his shooting a little bit. But I think he was a good shooter in high school. I think it was injuries that hampered him. I think he's a high risk, high reward type of guy.
It's not how a guy shot the ball in high school.
All right,
Bad shooter.
Public Indiana High School League.
Cole, he was a bad shooter in the end.
No, but what I'm saying
that's
is it's high risk, high reward. He could end up if he figures out the shooting.
Well, I wouldn't say number 14 pick is high risk.
All right, I guess
the last pick of the lottery is high risk.
And then high reward. He could be a type of guy if he does figure out his shot.
He definitely. I like his ability to get to the basket.
He'll never be a superstar. I would max him out at like maybe an 18-point type of guy at his best. Can I throw
out a comparison?
Otherwise, I think he'll be a nice role player.
What do you guys think of comparing him to Monta Ellis?
Maybe, yeah. A guy that can really get to the cup. That's what I like about Langford. Cool. If you watch his highlights, he has the ability to rip through and get to the cup.
Ellis, though, is a far better shooter than him. That's the one thing. If he can unlock his shooting,
Ellis shot 31% from three in the NBA.
Did he really?
Oh, all right. Then my bad there.
But so do you think if he was a productive player, would you take a Monta Ellis career on the Celtics for Romeo Langford?
For a 14 pick, I'd take
him. I would say he'll be a 6-man role player. I don't think anything more than that, really.
Exactly what Monta Ellis was.
Even if he unlocks his potential and gets his shooting, he's still maxing out as 6-man. Nice piece, I guess, on maybe a championship roster, but the way the Celtics are looking, they need him to be more. They're eventually going to need him to be more than that.
Something important when you're looking at an NBA draft pick is what's the expectation? What do you need this guy to be? The Celtics don't need Romeo Langford to be a guy who scores 22 a game and lights it up from three and starts every game. They don't need him to be that. They just need him to be a guy who's productive and he grows as a player and as a sixth man type guy. That's what they need him to be. They don't need him to be a star.
Agreed.
All right, let's go around and say.
So now that we're moving out of the lottery, what was a first-round pick that you really liked? You thought a team did really well with outside of the lottery?
I would say that, if I'm being honest, I would say that I like the kid from Auburn, Okeke. I would say that I loved him, but I just don't know how his knee rehab is going to go.
It's funny. I would bring him up for the next question, the worst pick of the first round.
I like his potential, but I don't know how his knee injury is going to go. So I would say him, but I'm not going to say him because I just don't know. To me, I like Little at the spot he was taken because I think he's worth the flyer at 25. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's a good value pick. He was highly recruited, though, and he had a bad year at UNC. I like taking him at 25, so I'd say him. No, to get a guy that was that highly recruited to UNC with the 25th pick is a win for a win.
I'm going to go with similar route. A guy who was highly recruited out of high school, up and down freshman year. Keldon Johnson going to San Antonio. I think the Spurs, they always find a way to get the best out of guys. I think they'll develop him the way he needs to be. I don't think he could have – I'm sure he'd much rather be in San Antonio than Cleveland 3 spots earlier. I think he's in a much better place in San Antonio. He has a lot of talent. I think they'll get the best out of him.
Talking about Cleveland, mine is Kevin Porter. I think another guy, high reward, low risk.
These are all guys 5-star prospects who just weren't that great as freshmen.
And I think Porter's problem is low effort. Like, he doesn't put a lot of effort off the court. The kid can create his own shot, and that's value of the NBA. A lot of the go-to guys on most teams can create their own shots.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like so much about him, that he has the ability to create his own shot. It's just whether that coaching staff can get the work ethic and make him want to work and turn into that go-to guy. And it's all up to him.
Adam, any thoughts?
I don't all these guys. I like Jordan Poole. I watch him play at Michigan a lot, but I mean, with the Warriors and all the talent they have, he's not really going to be playing too much for the first.
Actually, it might be. They're losing a bunch of guys to free agency. They just need bodies off the bench. I think he'll actually get more minutes than people would expect as a rookie. Luke, would you agree?
Yeah, I would. Because they're going to need those because they're going to have role players that could become more signature players, so they'll need to be a domino effect.
He reminds me of the other Michigan prospect. I forget. Is it DJ Wilson?
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of him a little bit.
Where's he, Milwaukee now?
Yeah, he's still in Milwaukee.
He reminds me of him a little bit. Maybe a little skinnier than him.
Sort of look-alike,
but a freak athlete. They're both freak athletes.
Yeah.
And they're freak athletes. They don't really have like a certain position on the court. You know what I mean?
So not everybody has to answer this question. Is there a pick in the first round that you just really didn't get outside of the lottery?
Outside of the lottery?
Yeah. There are a couple for me that it's not even about the player themselves. It's just like Sekou Doumbouya, the Pistons didn't really need him. Goga Batadze, the Pacers didn't really need him. Like, those are two teams that didn't need bigs. They needed wings, and they didn't address that.
You stole my thunder. I mean, why do the Pistons just keep accumulating big guys? Big guys. Who's going to be the starting 2 next year?
Probably Luke Kennard.
Okay.
Stanley Jones.
He's gone. He's gone.
Is he?
I rest my case. You think Luke Kennard's a starting NBA player? That's just silly.
But would they have gotten one at 15 anyways?
I'd rather have taken – they should have taken the kid from Virginia Tech.
That's probably one of my favorite picks outside the lottery.
Alexander Walker?
Yeah. Should have taken the kid from Virginia Tech now.
I think he's a bench player too, though.
Yeah, but at least he fits a role. He fits a position that they literally desperately need people at.
Fair. I mean, the thing with Doumbouya, I think the thinking behind that for Detroit is they're not sure how much people don't realize is Drummond is a free agent after next year, so they could slide Griffin over to center and slot him into power forward if need be.
They're going nowhere. They got a cap space and ain't getting much. All that money they're spending is gone barely by the skin of their teeth, and they got literally put through a blender.
They just need shooters.
Yeah.
And they didn't get that.
No.
Second round. Anybody you like in the second round? I'll go first.
Windler went early second, right?
No, he went in first to Cleveland.
That's right. Go ahead. Go first.
There are a couple second-round picks that I really liked. I'll start with Daniel Gafford to the Bulls at 38. I think at that point in the draft, it's worth a shot. He was a projected lottery pick after his freshman year and went back to Arkansas. The Bulls have good luck with Arkansas big men. They did well with Bobby Portis. At that point in the draft for a rebuilding team, I think that's worth a shot. The other second-round pick that I really liked was Eric Paschall going to Golden State at 41 from Villanova. I think this is a team they're going to lose a lot of guys. We're going to lose Kevin Looney in free agency. Paschall's he's a better shooter than Looney is. I think he'll fit the role nicely there.
I think a guy that could I was going to say, you literally said the two people that I was going to say. But if I have to go beyond that, I think that, I don't know, Quindary Weatherspoon is interesting to me. I think he had I think he was a guy that had a kind of a rocky. They had a lot of Mississippi State had a weird year last year. They had suspensions and they had a little bit of a rocky year. It's kind of an odd year. I think he's a guy that could score off the bench. I would say Weatherspoon, but I agree with Paschall and Gafford.
Mine, I think it's. I guess a lot of people are this, but I think Bull. Again, I guess a trend with a lot of my picks for this is high reward, low risk. He's the type
Especially
of
at
guy,
44.
value pick for would end up being the Nuggets pick. Value pick. He's a big body. Once again, kind of a Kevin Porter situation. Guy off the field, off the court concerns and effort, and those are all things you can fix the effort.
Denver is scary.
Yeah,
If they hit with this and Michael Porter Jr. from last year, who everybody forgets they had, they were a 2 seed without those two guys.
and that's a lanky
Yeah.
team too. There's some versatile guys you can switch around in there.
Absolutely.
Think about that.
Malik Beasley, Jamal Murray, guys like that. Will Barton.
Yeah, that's a team that I could see coming out of the West next year. With I think Golden State's gonna weaken a little bit. They're gonna lose some players. I think that will kind of open the NBA up a little bit.
Maybe. Adam, any thoughts?
Yeah, I talked about a Michigan guy in the first round. I'm going to talk about another one, as much as it pains me to say this, but I love Ignas Brzezikis. He's just a tough. Whenever he played against Michigan State, I always kind of just looked at him and I was just always scared of how much talent I thought he had. He's just a big, he's physical, gets the job done.
He'll
Basically,
get minutes for the Knicks.
Honestly, I would say he reminds me of.
He's a classic Nick.
He reminds me of the. You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
His college teammate that's on the Lakers.
Oh,
Mo Wagner?
Mo Wagner, yeah.
Well,
I
We'll make an NBA. He reminds me of like a Luke Cornett.
no Wagner in
Like,
college. He
Might start or on like a bad team that wins like 16 games or be a bench. He's like, nah.
I just see more talent than
Might be on an NBA roster, but I don't think you'll ever talk about him in a conversation.
right, but I still think it was a decent pick for the Knicks.
All right.
I'll throw out one more.
Okay.
Jalen Hands to the Nets at 56. At 56, you're getting a former 5-star prospect, too.
Yeah, that's a guy.
Yeah.
He just never could figure it out at UCLA. I know he led the Pac-12. I think in assists was it? But it's a Pac-12.
Yeah.
They had two teams and one was because of
Yeah,
automatic.
I mean, he had like 3 coaches in 2 years at UCLA, too.
So I think to wrap this up, go around and say one guy undrafted you think that could make an impact. I'll start out. To me, it's not Reed. I listen.
I don't
think
like the body. I wouldn't have drafted him either.
But you can look at like what Jaleel Okafor did. He was fat. He was overweight.
It took him 5
He was
years.
okay, but no, I'm saying no. Well, he wasn't like that to start. He became that, and then last year he turned it around. You can always change your body. No, it's not that hard. You can get the right nutritional plan from the team, the workout plan, blah blah blah. We don't need to get into all that. I think Naz Reid. No, you wouldn't take a flyer on Naz Reid.
I wouldn't have drafted him, I said.
Okay, but I'm saying he'd be a guy I'd want to take a flyer at.
Fair enough.
I don't know if this counts because I think the Suns signed him, but Jalen LeCue, he's the type of guy. He was like a top 10 recruit in his class. I'm a 5th-year senior,
He's
but
an idiot.
But this kid can jump out the gym. He's kind of, I think, gonna fall into that kind of Jalen Hands kind of situation. Everyone calls him Baby Westbrook. He can shoot too. I think he's gonna be the type of guy that they're gonna protect in the G League for a while, just because I think he's gonna need some time to develop. But he's got all the tools there to become something.
I've never been more convinced that an individual human being was an idiot than Jalen LeCue. There's no reason for him to declare for the draft out of high school when he could have just gone to college and then getting undrafted. Anyways, that was a side comment. My answer would be Luguentz Dort from Arizona State. I thought he was projected late first, early second. He's a 6'4" guard. He can pass. He's strong. He's tough. He can drive. He can shoot. I have no idea why he didn't get picked. I can promise you this: he's better than half the guys who actually did get drafted.
I think that he's probably a guy that
He already signed a 2-way with the Thunder
I think
too.
he's probably a guy. I read this. I didn't know I had it for ESPN that he turned down second round teams because they were going to stash him. I think he would rather wanted this 2-way rather than be stashed and drafted because there's no way that Oni or Shayok would be drafted over him. Well, they should.
Adam got anything on this?
No, I'm really no help here. Don't know that much.
I'll give one more. Jonte Porter.
I'll talk about another idiot.
He's a guy that the reason why he's a good player, but injuries have ruined him.
There was no need to declare. Sophomore, and he declared after tearing both his ACLs.
Can't have that.
Like, okay, neat. Now he's going to make, $2,000 playing in the G League as opposed to making none at Missouri. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of the Faithful Fan Sports Podcast. Thanks for listening, and I hope you continue to tune in.